Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Tuesday, December the 10th. Well, tomorrow is CPI. So today is probably rest day. We'll see. Sometimes I've seen it trend really hard the day before CPI, and just don't fight it if it happens. Today's verse is in John 1. And the word, notice word is capitalized. At the very beginning of John, it says, in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God. Word equals Jesus, okay? So, and the Word, Jesus, became flesh and dwelt among us. And we beheld his glory, and the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John is so beautifully written. My wife and I are reading John for the month of December, and it is just so beautiful. All right, guys, let's get into it. So welcome to the AM briefing brought to you by microtrader.com, where together we trade better. It's absolutely true. Find your group. It may not be mine, it might be somebody else's, but find your group, find your tribe, find the people you want to fight with. Okay, so we are in MES Futures Trading Room. Check us out at microtrader.com. Tip of the day, what do you control? Well, one thing you control that I didn't put on this list is how you draw your lines, right? How you pay attention to trend, how you pay attention to price action. But once you are deciding to enter into a trade, what do you control? From that moment, you've said, I am going to go long here. You control your size, you control that location. Do you trade that 3-minute level? Do you trade a greedier 1-minute level? Do you trade the break? Do you trade the ladder point? And then how do you manage? Trade immediately goes against you. What is your protocol? Just like a pilot, engine goes down. What's the first thing? What's the second thing? What's the third thing I do? It immediately goes into the profit. What does your procedure tell you to do? It should be pretty standardized. In fact, it should be standardized. You know exactly what you're going to do. Size, location, and management definitely need to be ironed out before you ever place a trade. So today's new driver, Tuesday, OPEX meetings, the big things tomorrow. Eyeballs are on CPI. So we will trade the morning. I probably won't even look at the chart in the afternoon. I'm going to try to take a full break off of that because tomorrow could be a full trading day. CPI days can be insane. 100, 200 point day is not out of the realm of possibility. And please remember, look at the bottom. This is contract rollover week. FOMC and OPEX is next week. End of the month, end of the year. Squirrely price action is very possible this week. Be careful. If you like what we do here, like, subscribe, consider becoming a member. Check us out at microtrader.com. So, to get into yesterday's review, let's start with about 10 seconds of the AM briefing yesterday, just around the 13-minute mark. This level here, we probably do target the bull bear line. Okay. So that is what played out really well. And our group did really well with that as also. So one of the things I was really proud about the group. So congratulations, guys. Multiple people with 10-point trades, some long, some short. That is a beautiful day. Just as the leader of the group, I am so proud of that. It just makes me so happy. I had a nice 10-point short. Grandpa Roger had a 10-point short. Caleb had a nice 10-point short. And, you know, Caleb, I was really proud of you because you hit your stop time. See this red? This is one of the things in our indicators. It hit his stop time and he just exited his trade. You know, it's so easy to be greedy and go, I want more. I want more. Caleb stayed within his trade plan, and congrats on that. And Jackie with a beautiful 10-point long, which is what we covered while we were doing the YouTube live yesterday. We were in his trade mentally. We talked about also, well, I'll probably get to that when we get into the actual topics here. So let me turn back on the candles. Let me turn on the trend line here So this is pretty much where we started yesterday's AM briefing. And what happened yesterday? Woohoo! We broke that trend line, baby. So one of the things we're looking for, longer flat, longer flat, longer flat, longer flat. We're waiting for something to break and inefficiencies to be left behind. And then levels that bounce price down. So price comes up to a level that I expect price to go down and it actually pushes it down. Okay. It actually pushes it down. And then we get another level, it pushes it down again. Boom. I'm in. Let's trade. So we definitely set up nicely for that. So let's come back here. I'm going to come into here and let's throw on our strong levels. So just like we said in the AM briefing, that I felt that if we came into here, retested, this is where I went short and I exited literally almost right there at the bottom and took my 10 pointer and did very well. Yes, I could have waited for the bull bear line. I could have been greedy, but I went, you know what? The last 3 weeks has not been the easiest of trading. To get nice follow through has not worked very well. So I took my 10 pointer and was a very happy boy. And then in the afternoon on the AM Zoom, somewhere in here, I took a long, actually, it was here. So we did a little liquidity grab right here, I believe. We came back up in, I did a little long here, ended up basically breaking even, and that was it. Of course, my what I was hoping would happen, we would get under here and do that, but that did not happen. This is the bull bear line. There's going to be a battle here. Now, when we got on Zoom here, this was Jackie's long. This was most of our shorts, and that's how we traded yesterday. I said that if we get up over this, and I need it to be with candle clearance, that we would go long here, but this trade did not materialize, and I had drew out this trade. So you always want to map out your long, map out your short, and then you've got to look at the trade when it's happening. When this was occurring, I told on Zoom, I mean, well, was it on Zoom? YouTube Live, that the reason why I'm not going to take that trade is all the indices were lining up for a bounce. Righty was hitting its halfback. Dow was coming back up and hitting its low, previous day low where it was going to bounce. NQ was gassing out and couldn't even get to its VWAP. And I said, you know what? Because of the index confluence, this doesn't make sense to go long here. And in fact, I was showing a level where you could have went short there. VWAP was coming through here as well. I was more of helping, not helping, but following through with this trade with Jackie to be long. So that was more of my focus, is to be an encouragement and help in that management of that. And Jackie captured his 10 pointer, and that's what you do. When do you get out of a trade? When price comes back and gets you. You have a trade management system that you follow every time. So fantastic day yesterday. Congrats. So what has happened overnight? Boy, did the bull bear line prove to be a bull bear line. Look at that battle. My goodness. If every time that thing came up, you would have taken a trade, and then eventually it would have went against you. It came back and gave you the gift of break even. You take that gift of break even. Had I been up on that strong move up, there's the long. There's the long. There's the long right there. My goodness. And how beautiful is that? Mm, mm, mm. Just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. So let's do this. One of the things I forgot to do before the AM briefing, and I apologize. So we're going to do it together. I did not mark out these high, lows, and halfbacks. So there we go. Boy, Trading View was slow on the load, was it not? Let me move this over so we can see what we're doing. And I like to manually move these. Could I set a line to automatically draw? Yes. But I like to manually move these. I want to be involved in the chart, and I can see, did we compress? Did we expand our range? Was it up or down? And then you're just really an organic part of the process. See, trading is really close to an art form. It's very visual. Artists do very well with trading, especially musicians, because they understand tempo, cadence, all of that good stuff there. So if you have an artistic flair to you, trading, especially with how we trade, can work really well for you. So let's line these bad boys up. What a nice uh, day there. Let's get these lined up. Very nice. And same thing for Russell. Although Russell doesn't matter as much, it is certainly easier to trade with the trend when the market is trending. And Russell was a wild boy yesterday, made new all time highs. Well, I actually did not make new all time highs. It ran straight up hard and then ended up taking out yesterday's low. Like, let's look at this. Look at this. Price went way higher than the previous day and then all took it all back. My goodness, what a wild boy he is. What a wild boy. All right, so let's come into here. Let's line these bad boys up. Where are we? And this is important. Well, at this moment, we're all above the VWAPs. We are in the lower distribution, though. That's different than we've had for weeks. We always seem to be making new highs and in the upper distribution. ES took out the overnight liquidity and is running up. NQ did not take the liquidity. Dow did take the overnight liquidity, but it is not skyrocketing. It's not bearish, is it? No way to say it's bearish. We did close at the lows yesterday, which it tends to be a bit bearish. You know, we had a trend day down on low volume. Very interesting. Now, we did have one set of single prints up here. This set got taken back, so we can remove this one. So there's a set of single prints up there at 90.75 that you might want to make sure is on your chart. And now, if we had to draw an overnight trend line, what are we going to draw? Well, we got to draw this. And what a steep line that is. My goodness. I also want to make sure on here that we mark out some levels. So let's go to a 30-minute chart real quick. Let's pull this in. Let's get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of this trend line for now. I'm going to get rid of the single prints for now. Let's turn on the session levels. Let's get rid of you. Let's come in here. Actually, I want this orange in my 30-minute folder. Sometimes you move things around and they get in the wrong folder. It's okay. There we go. I want to be as exacting as possible. 30-minute fair value gap. That needs to be in my 30-minute folder. My goodness. So sorry, we're doing a little maintenance here, but this is real life, right? All right, so we got this RTH low here. It's already been tested at 60.60. So what I do is I slide this on over here to my quitting time, which is 11.60.60. It's already tested. Let me turn this back on because what I want to do is I want to mark out the halfback, RTH halfback. The IB high is marked. That is marked, and the all-time high is marked. We're good. We're ready to go into the day. So this was a previous RTH low. Also, there were two 30-minute break levels down here. So this one was officially tested. I'm going to go ahead and just remove that one. I don't need it. Those are RTH ladder points. So we'll keep that there. We got the halfback and that ladder point there. Beautiful. So let's turn off that indicator. Let's turn off these levels. And let's go back and turn on the strong levels. Let's go back to a 3-minute chart just to look at this again. I did tell the group last night, we were looking for a trade last night. We're like, okay, looks like we're getting under the bull bear line. We got no follow through. It was untradeable last night, in my humble opinion. Absolutely just untradeable. Now, had you been up at 2 in the morning, it finally took that liquidity laddered back in. There would have been a short right there. You wouldn't have made a whole lot. You'd have had to follow it at 50% because it would have came back. Once again, if you shorted that bull bear line every time, you would have made money. And then we finally flushed that low, but it did it once, it did it twice, it did it 3 times. And then it starts fair value gapping back up strong. This is where you've got to be smart and go, we're fair value gapping up. The strength of this move up deserves to have some respect. So be careful shorting that. Of course, price bounce both ways. For example, when I was in my short here, Pappy was long. Actually, I take that back. Let me go back real quick. Let's go to a 1 minute chart here. I just want to show you that because that's one of the beautiful things about price. It does bounce both directions. Um, so let me turn on my AM briefing here. Oh yeah, I forgot we had Patrick Swayze trying to jump out of the airplane. Didn't really happen. He was ready to jump, and there was no jumping. Let me remove that, remove that, and remove that. So when we were on Zoom, this was the trade I outlined for the group. I entered right here, took a tiny bit of heat, knew where my stop was. Pappy was long here, and then I was short there. So that's one of the beautiful things about our system is it can work both ways. Now, I do want to cover one more thing about yesterday. Let me remove this. Let me remove this. Let me remove this. So when we were trading together, this was the first trade I outlined. So we opened up, we're doing this consolidation stuff, and I drew this out like this is the short I would be interested in to come to this first level, which is the warning shot to bulls. The way price behaved, now it looks like it was perfect, right? Nearly perfect to this, but it just didn't line up to my entry. So I didn't take it. I'm like, oh, well, what do? We wait for the next trade. There's another high probability trade around the corner. And then I got this setup when we find, so we touched our strong level and bounced beautiful, got under it. And so that's where I went for it there. Waited for the next entry. So I was very happy with that. And that's what you do when you miss a trade. And by the way, that was yesterday's tip of the day, wasn't it? That you've got to be okay with missing a trade and waiting for the next setup. And I honestly think that's one of the most valuable parts of Zoom is helping traders be patient. One of my members a couple of weeks ago said, the pace of our Zoom is like going fishing. If you've ever went bass fishing, if you ever went fishing at all, really, but I picture bass fishing because that's what I grew up doing. It is a lot like trading. It's calm, it's quiet. I use the analogy that pilots like to use. It's sometimes hours of boredom by few moments of sheer terror. It's not exactly like that on trading, but the analogy stands, doesn't it? It really does. So hours of boredom by a few moments of sheer excitement. Let's go back to a 10-minute chart, just take a peek real quick. Um, so above the bull bear line, you've got to give the benefit of the doubt to bulls. You've got to give the benefit of the doubt to bulls. Now, of course, in the next 2 hours, this thing could change dramatically. But at this moment, if I was to trade, I would much more want to wait till we got up here to the RTH halfback and the warning shot to bulls. I told the group last night when it opened, I said, I would much prefer to see us go to 83, come to 83, and then give us a shift to get short to come down here. That's ideally what I would have liked to seen last night, that it runs up to about that 83. We get that move again. Will that happen? Obviously, I have no clue because the play long, once again, would be this one, but it's got to do it in a manner that makes sense for our system. So let's do the bull bear, guys. So overnight trend line, you got to give it to the bulls. Session stacking. Session stacking. Sorry, I'm just sitting here just thinking out loud to myself, thinking inwardly, actually. I'm going to give that to the Bears at this time. At this moment, that is what makes sense to me. So let's give that to the Bears. VWAP. Are we above or under VWAP? I know we're above, so you got to give that to the bulls. Overnight halfback, we are certainly above the overnight halfback. Got to give that to the bulls. Yesterday's range, we are inside of the range. I got to give that to the bulls. The indices, when I look at everybody, we are within range. Um, we're all above VWAP at this moment. So at this moment, this is how I grade it. Bull bear line. I can use the real bull bear line here. I got to give that to the bulls. Risk of a liquidation break or short covering. Well, I think we had a good move yesterday. I think the risk of short covering, got to give it to the bulls, in my humble opinion. So at this moment, if I was to trade, you got to side with the side of the bulls. That doesn't mean I go long here. To me, I missed my perfect entry here. So I would need to wait for the next perfect entry for me to go long. And who knows, that may not exist until we got up here. That's okay. Hours of boredom with a few moments of sheer excitement.
Stay green, my friends. And to learn more about our group, go to microstrader.com.